It being 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the regular council meeting of the Township of McNabb Braeside for Tuesday, October the 5th, 2021 to order. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, before we go on to the adoption of the agenda, there's been a request to add 4 items to the agenda. One is in regards to video installation in chambers under new business. The other is item 2 is the Planning Advisory Committee October meeting under new business. Number 3 is a closed session under identifiable individual. Number 4 is a Committee of Adjustment transfer to the county under unfinished business. Have I missed anything, Ms. Lee? No. Does council have any problems with any of those additions? Seeing none, I need a mover and seconder to accept the agenda as amended. Councillor Lang, Councillor Broom, all in favor? That is carried. So I understand, Ms. Lee, that the county won't be available till about 7:30.
That's right.
So we'll move on with the meeting and once they have, we will go back to that. So we're on to item 6, the adoption of the previous council meetings. Council minutes. 6.1 is the September 14th public meeting under the Planning Act. Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Armstrong, Councillor Jacob. Questions or comments? All in favor of the minutes as presented? It's carried. Thank you. 6.2, the September 21st, 21 regular council meeting. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lang, Councillor Broom. Questions or comments? All in favor of the minutes as presented? That is carried. Thank you. We're on to reports of Committee of Council. 7.1, rebranding the new township logo. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lang, Councillor Jacob. Is there someone wanting to speak on this? Ms. Lee?
Yes, Kelly, it is.
Okay.
Okay. Let's
Yeah, so as part of the 2021 capital budget process, council included a provision of $100,000 to not only redesign a new logo, develop a new slogan, and then with those decisions being made, then it would be kind of morphed into the greater scope with new marketing material, updating the website, and signage and things like that. So the first step is to basically choose a new logo. And then from there, staff will work with the consultant to come up with some suggestions for possible slogans for council's consideration. So this is step 1 in the process. So the consultant that we're using is McLaughlin Designs. And she has generously donated her time to not only design the logo, but also work with staff to come up with a slogan. And then once we move into the next stages, then we'll have to get requests for proposal or quotations at least to finalize the rest of the project. But so she provided staff initially with over 28 different designs. And staff worked through those designs and kind of came up with what we felt were like the top 4 representations for council's consideration. So that's what's seen before you. So basically, staff are looking for direction from council if they are in which logo that they prefer out of the top 5 before you. And there's also an option to, change if it's decided or narrowed down to the one. Ideally, I'd like to have one choice. If there's some changes to colorations that are maybe making some suggestions that way, we could definitely bring back a new iteration in a different color scheme if you prefer. So these are the 5 that staff have kind of narrowed down. So I'm kind of looking for staff or for council to kind of give staff direction what their preference would be.
Thank you. Councillor Broom, please.
I know personally, I believe it is version 3. I like the color scheme. I like the layout. The only thing that I'd like to see some trees.
Is it this one here?
It's a book. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing that it's got the farmer's fields, it's got the water, it's got the bird, it's got the sunshine. The colors are very warm, welcoming, but we have a lot of trees, nature.
So the green, from speaking with Carol, the green is the representation of more of the earth and the land and the green naturescape. But I do appreciate your feedback for sure. Are there any other comments?
Councillor Lang.
Hi, thank you, Mayor Peckett. So I actually like 3 as well. That's my top. I like the color scheme. I think the orange suggests energy, forwardness, positive outlook. And I think it positions the logo differently than some of the other logos in the area, which from what I gather, I don't think any of them use orange. A lot use blue and green. And so I really like that distinguishing factor. I like the fact that it represents the waters and the landscape. I do not agree with Councillor Broom on the trees, only because although we do have a lot of trees, what we have to remember is if we clutter a logo up with too much detail, it gets too cluttered. And logos have to be really simple and clean, especially when you size them down. And I'm glad that she gave a grayscale version to show what it would look like in black and white, because that's very important as well. So no, I'm happy with number 3 of all. And I also think some of the others sort of are reminiscent a little bit of the town of Arnprior logo. So I like the fact that this is quite different.
Thank you.
Councillor Jacob.
Yeah, I concur with my colleagues. I prefer option number 3. The only small little comments that I have is just to make sure that one of the 3 colors is dark enough for accessibility purposes, that we can use it as a background with white writing, for instance. That would likely be the blue. And the other 2 small things, to me, the sun looks like a yellowy orange. If it was closer to the orange that we have used in the past, that would be a little bit better. And then my last small thing is very small. Just the orientation of McNabb Braeside Township. If that could be Township of McNabb Braeside, I think it represents our legal name.
Go. Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Well, I have smart aleck comments that I'll hold. I didn't have a significant issue with any of them. Number 1 didn't really strike me too much. I like number 2, but I certainly don't have an issue with number 3. And just to Councillor Jacob's point about the name, I would actually be open to considering an official name change of the township to McNabb Braeside Township as opposed to the Township of McNabb Braeside. I prefer McNabb Braeside Township as opposed to everybody. We call this McNabb Braeside. Like it's not the Township of McNabb Braeside. So I would be open to that discussion. I don't mind the naming the way it is. I would be remiss if I didn't put in a silly comment, and I would say that I prefer to see a Canada goose as the bird as opposed to a seagull, but that would be my personal preference, considering it is flying over a field and we are in the fall.
Councillor Lang.
To supplementary point to Deputy Mayor Armston's bird comment, I was actually going to say bald eagle because there's a bald eagle at the landfill quite regularly. And we saw a bald eagle yesterday flying down or up the towards Calabogie from Burnstown up the river. So as we were rowing, so that was pretty neat.
Bald eagles have become a regular sighting in the area. So I think more and more are coming to nest in this area. So, which is really good. I love to see that. They're a beautiful, majestic bird. So anyway, back to the logo. Any other comments? Okay. And I'm going to leave it up to council and staff to make the decision, because quite frankly, I don't like any of them. I find that the logo for our township, the existing one, is regal. It is historic. It is indicates a sort of where the township evolved from. And anyway, I'll leave the decision of the new modern way of a logo up to you folks. But that's just my opinion. I find the city of Ottawa and the town of Arnprior's logos, I just think they're all washed out. I like something bold and regal. So my opinion. So council and staff can decide which one they're going to go with. And we'll move on from there.
Okay, thank you.
So we had a recommendation that council accept the rebranding new township logo report as information submitted and circulated. If there's no more questions or comments, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Mayor Peckett, do we not have to actually recommend the choice of the logo?
Yes, that's the second part.
Yeah.
Did I miss a part of it?
Yeah, the second part of the report was that and further that council make a general decision on their preferred logo from the selections included in this report.
And so from what I heard, there was 3.5 people looking at number 3 as their choice. So I think they're sticking with their choice. So it would be number 3.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're on to 7.2, road closure bylaw. And there is a recommendation. So I need a mover and seconder. Get it on the floor, please. Deputy Mayor Armston, Councillor Broom. The recommendation that staff be directed to provide a favorable response to the Ministry of Transport that the township is in agreement to enacting a road closing bylaw and realignment of the portion of Russet Drive as per the attached correspondence. I assume that everybody has had a chance to look at that. Comments, Councillor Broom?
My only comment would be, the only thing that I'd be worried about is that there always be a way out for the fire department and snow removal. I don't know their timelines, but that would be my biggest thing, would to ensure that there's at least one way out for fire trucks and our public works guys, so that they don't have to drive around the entire block.
I would think that Mr. Frew would have breached that subject, approached that subject when he was talking with them. Ms. Lee, do you have any information on that?
I'm fairly certain that the, this won't be done until the cloverleaf has already started. So there's no worry of there not being an access or exit for them.
Thank you. Any
That
other?
would be my only concern.
My concern is, when are they going to start it? It was supposed to start by the fall. The fall occurred on the 21st or 22nd of September. Here we are into October. And I don't see any work being done on the cloverleaf other than stockpiling crushed asphalt. Anyway, I'll endeavor to find out when they're going to get shovels in the ground. Any other comments on this recommendation? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Seven point through 2022 remuneration township staff. And there is a recommendation, mover and seconder, moved by Councillor Broom, second by Deputy Mayor Armstrong. Questions or comments? Councillor Jacob?
Just a question for clarification through you to the treasurer. In the report, it notes that the estimated cost increase is 72,580.50 cents. Does this also take into consideration the pay equity increases that were approved by council back in August?
Yes, so the 2020, on the second page of the report, the 2021 salaries and wages do incorporate all of the pay equity and job evaluation increases that were levied this year.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. Information items. 8.1. Ontario Aggregate Resources Corporation's license fee disbursement. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Broom, Councillor Jacob. Questions or comments? I guess I was wrong, Miss Lee, but when I sent you that email that somebody was going to ask the question of how much the check was, so I want
Do you want to know anyways? $61,000 and change. Just a sec, I'll get the exact amount.
That's close enough.
Okay,
$61,000.
$61,221.04.
Good, we can pave another 50 feet of Campbell Drive. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of receiving this information? Carried, thank you. On to bylaws, 13.1, bylaw 2021-64.
Mayor
Yeah.
Peckett, we have some additions that need to be done.
Oh, yeah, we're already at that, eh?
Sure are.
Sorry.
That's okay. Unfinished business, 10.1.
10.1 unfinished business.
Yeah,
Okay,
the transfer that we discussed about last meeting back to the county that we just decided to wait on. And then I realized after I said that it wasn't a big deal to wait, that I wouldn't be able to advertise that job because I can't leave that much of a job description part out of a job description when I'm hiring somebody. That's a lot to throw on someone after the fact if we don't do it. So I do need to know now what we want to do.
okay, so which one of the four is that? Is that the number 4, Committee of Adjustment Transfer to, no, is that the
Yeah.
one?
Yeah,
So I need a mover and seconder, please. Counselor Jacob, Counselor Lang. Ms. Lee, please.
also everything I just said over again.
Okay, questions or comments? Counselor Jacob.
So I would support us making the transfer to the county at this point. It can always be something that's reversed in the future. So if it is something that's holding up a job posting from going up, I think we should make that approval and bring it forward to the next meeting of council if it requires a bylaw.
It does.
Thank you. So I haven't got the, is there a resolution, Ms. Lee, or recommendation? I haven't got that.
No, it would just be staff direction right now to bring the bylaw forward to next council meeting.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? So all in favor of bringing this forward as staff direction? Okay, staff direction, bring it forward to the next council meeting. Thank you. Can we go on now to the next new business, the video installation in chambers?
Yes,
Is there a recommendation for that one?
yes. It was
I need-
emailed to everybody.
Okay, well, I've got 3 things going here and I just can't get all of them to get it up in front of me, so. Can we have a mover and seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Armstrong and Councillor Broom. Ms. Lee, could you read the recommendation, please?
I can. That council accept that report as information and submitted and as submitted and circulated. And further, that council approve the quote from ComB Tech Multimedia in the amount of $22,742.10 for the purchase and installation of video recording equipment for the township council chambers. And further, that this money be taken from modernization grant reserve.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Councillor Jacob?
Just a question through you to the CAO. So this would be a sole source procurement. Have we looked at quotes from other organizations? Or given that the timelines we're looking at from returning to council chambers, it's expedient to go with this one?
The timelines were a factor, as well as all the other townships that the townships and the county use this company also. It goes well with the equipment that we currently have. So it is kind of like a specialized deal. And I'd like to get it in before the end of this year. And that's pushing this right now also.
Councillor Lang?
Just a comment that I like the move. I think that this supports our, well, all of government's efforts to be transparent and accountable. And I'm really glad to see this going forward.
Thank you. Ms. Lee?
So this is replacing the owl that clearly didn't work very well in our chambers, given our size and windows and height and everything. This should work now.
Should work now. Thank God, the deputy mayor didn't think it was a goose. Is this, my question is, and I think I asked it before, I don't recognize the logo. Is this Sean Beneke
Yes,
that does all the county work and stuff like that?
yes.
He is, from my experience with the county, he's exceptionally good and very helpful of getting this type of stuff up and running. So I'm certainly in favor of moving forward with this sole sourced item. It'll be quicker. We've already tried one other that people told us it would work and didn't work. So if there's no further questions, all in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. Is there anything else we can do on the additions?
Yeah. 11.2, so the warden and the county CEO are on, but 11.2 will take no time if we can finish those and then have them speak.
So which, that's the
The PAC meeting for
PAC
this
meeting,
month.
October meeting under new business. This is just for information, is it not?
No,
No? Okay. Over in seconder, please. Councillor Jacob, Councillor Lang. Ms. Lee?
so we're requesting that we cancel the meeting for next week because there's nothing on the agenda right now.
Okay. There's nothing on the agenda. I guess there's no use having a meeting. So
I object wholeheartedly because I would like to go on record as having the shortest meeting ever in the history of council meetings. But that's just my humble opinion, sir.
This will solidify your record, Deputy Mayor. Ms. Young, please.
We could have one item, which would be the chief building officials report for the month. If you'd like.
We could move that and have two of them for next month.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. So
So the warden and the CEO are on the meeting. Mandy's gonna let them in now.
okay. There we go. So good evening, Warden Robinson, Mr. Morrow, Mr. Foss, Mr. Kelly. Thanks for joining us this evening. And who's going to start us off? The warden?
Yes, I am. So good evening, Mayor Peckett. Nice to see you and your council. Very, very pleased to be here this evening to have an opportunity just to talk to you a little bit about some of the changes that are happening at the County of Renfrew. I certainly know your mayor quite well, and I know that he keeps you very up to date on what's happening. So some of this may be repeated, but it's just important for us to have an opportunity to go and visit all of the 16 lower tier municipalities and have a conversation with them. So again, very pleased to be here this evening. Just want to give you a little bit of background. It was probably in 2019 that the staff at the county made a proposal to county council. They started looking at ways that we could provide better and more efficient service to the lower tier municipalities and the residents of the county of Renfrew. And they started talking about things like efficiencies. So just so you know that the term efficiencies, we were using that before the province started and before it became almost a bad word. But at the beginning, it was certainly what we were trying to do. So when we started looking at ways to do business differently, one of the things we noticed that we were spending upwards of $380,000 a year just on private leases for some of the programs that we provide. In particular, Ontario Works in childcare and Renfrew County Housing Authority were all located in downtown Pembroke, which is really only maybe a 7-minute drive away from the administration building of the County of Renfrew. So the decision was made to bring all of those 3 programs inside the County of Renfrew administration building. At the same time, the province started giving out modernization funding. The county received $750,000, which was fantastic. It was great timing. We had a design, we were moving forward. We had a contractor, and then of course COVID hit. I don't know if you've heard about COVID, but it was not fun. So, we did have to do a little bit of a redesign as well, because we wanted to make sure that when our staff were brought back into the building after working at home or remotely, that they were safe and that it was an environment conducive to conversation and sharing of ideas. So we started the construction. I'm going to say we were probably in construction for approximately 14 months. I'm very proud that during that time, however, the service delivery that the County of Renfrew provides was not interrupted at all. And that continuity of operations is very, very important to us. And I think we've done a very good job of doing that. One of the opportunities, or a couple of the opportunities actually, during the service delivery improvement project was that we had a change in management at the Human Resources Department, which allowed us to take a really close look at what we were doing, what we were providing, and how we could do a better job of that. And we have the Director of Corporate Services here, Jeff Haas, who will explain to you all of those changes in detail. At the same time, we also found some additional funding so we could review the planning department of the development of property. And we have tonight with us the Director of Development Property, Craig Kelly, who can tell you some very exciting things that are happening as far as planning is concerned. And, planning and development, we know are near and dear to your heart, certainly near and dear to the heart of your mayor. And, there's some exciting things happening in McNabb. And also with us tonight is the CAO, Paul Morrow. I don't think he's a stranger to anybody. He's been held a number of portfolios. Extremely fortunate, the County of Renfrew, to have these 3 outstanding gentlemen as part of our senior leadership team. And I will now turn it over to Paul.
Thank you, Warden. And with that, our intent tonight is just to highlight the 2 areas of business. We're happy to answer any other questions that you may have as they come up. But as the warden said, we would like to focus on planning and human resources and tell you about some changes. And hopefully what you're going to hear from us today, well, what I know you're going to hear from us today is how we can support you as a municipality with these changes that we've made. So, the conversation that we're going to have, and by all means, ask us any questions as they come up. But we'd like to talk to you about the enhanced HR services and the enhanced planning services at the County of Renfrew. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Foss.
Thank you, Paul, and good evening, Mayor Peckett, and hello to all of your council members. Nice to meet with you, even virtually this evening. And I've really just been asked to speak to you a little bit about some of the activities that's taking place in our Human Resources Department. And as Paul mentioned, my role at the County of Renfrew is I'm the Director of Corporate Services. So finance is my background, information technology, provincial offenses court, and fairly recently, human resources. And so specifically with that particular portfolio, County Council directed that we undertake a restructuring of our human resources department late last year in 2020. And so what our goal was with that restructuring was to really look at creating a team within the HR department to deliver highly experienced and specialized HR services broadly throughout the organization. And to be able to accomplish that, we put forward a business plan, and only in February of this year, County Council approved the business plan to restructure the department. So essentially the same number of individuals were brought forward, but with much different skill sets than we had previously. County Council at that time also considered another option within this business plan, and that was to add one person to the team or add one additional resource with the specific purpose of creating some capacity so that additional resource within our HR team would be dedicated to supporting local municipalities. And we all understand that for most of our municipalities, having the expertise of a dedicated HR professional on your team is difficult. It's difficult to find them, to hire them, to train them, and to ensure that they're delivering kind of leading edge information around human resources, because we all know it changes rapidly. And certainly in this COVID environment that we're working in today, the impacts on our workforce are dramatic, and it's difficult to keep up with it. So what we attempted to do was to hire an additional individual, make them part of our HR team, but open them up to being able to support local municipalities. And so we built that team, beginning with a brand new management structure. So we have a new manager by the name of Greg Belmore, and Greg is a CPA and comes to us from the private sector with about a decade of private sector experience. But he's also then pulled together new team members that are all experienced HR professionals. And these people have a university background in generally speaking, business administration with a specialization in human resources. And these folks are certified human resource professionals. And so they've got tons of experience in delivering HR services. So how does that really impact you? Well, part of our business plan was to really make this service available to all local municipalities at a really reasonable sort of a cost recovery rate. So our county council approved user fee bylaw requires that we charge out these services at $75 an hour, which if you're looking for, how does that compare in the local marketplace, it's probably about half price of what you might experience if you were to acquire these services, in the external third-party market. And certainly at a much greater reduction to reaching out to the HR, legal firms, the Eamon Hardens of the world or the Hicks Morley of the world. And if you've ever paid a legal bill recently, you understand what the charge out rates can be for those services. And so what we're trying to do is make it very affordable, very accessible. We're bringing to you some individuals who have very specific municipal experience. So these people work in a municipality, they understand municipal issues, and they understand many of the issues that you're facing on a daily basis. So just talking really quickly about some of those services that we could help you with, if that was something that your municipality would be interested in. It runs the gamut of HR services, from recruiting, which would be, us potentially helping you in drafting job descriptions, going through the advertising and the job posting process, kind of coordinating the receipt of all of those applications, scheduling interviews, participating in the interview process if that is something you wish for us to do, and even providing our recommendations on hiring as we benchmark those positions against your needs that you've specified in your own job descriptions, and then even drafting employment contracts for your approval. There are many other areas. If you have collective agreements with bargaining units, of course, there's collective bargaining that happens on a regular basis. If you have a collective agreement, there's the management of grievances, potentially investigations and discipline, letters of understanding with your union, corporate policy creation and interpretation around human resources, and ensuring that you stay current and relevant within the legislation that we all have to work within, whether that be the Employment Standards Act or occupational health and safety or human rights. All of this legislation, seems to change fairly rapidly. And so we're putting a team together that can stay on top of those for your municipality. We can assist with pay equity and job evaluation processes. Within the HR department, we also have another member of our team, a registered nurse, and she's been working with us for a long time. And she really manages our occupational health programs. So keeping employees healthy, and when they're not healthy, managing their health claim, and with our goal of returning them to the workforce as quickly as possible. And so she has 30 years of experience in dealing with occupational health, and very specifically in a municipal and unionized environment. And so she's available to assist you with some of those needs if that's something that you're looking for. So I think with that, Mayor Peckett, that's my really brief sort of high level overview of what we're attempting to do within our HR services. One thing I failed to mention is simply that County Council has asked, or that we put a program together that entitles each of our 17 lower tiers 7 non-chargeable hours of service. So it really gives you an opportunity to sort of test drive some of the things that we might be able to help you out with at no charge to your municipality. And certainly if that's a benefit to you, then we can make ourselves available to support you going forward. So perhaps I'll leave it with that and turn it over to my colleague Craig to speak to you about some of the services within his department.
Thanks, Jeff. Nice segue. And good evening, everyone. Interesting relationship we have with McNabb Braeside on the development and property side. It's actually one that's been around for a while. Of course, Bruce Howarth, now our manager of planning, provides you with planning services and has for a number of years, and in a very special relationship, as opposed to, well, we have special relationships with all the municipalities, but yours is especially special with McNabb Braeside, because we have been your planners of record for a number of years, and happy to do so. So just to recap that Bruce and our back office staff, I suppose, and that support with GIS have been providing you with direct planning services, which include review of your zoning files and your minor variance help in the last few months with Helen's absence. So that's been going on. So your zoning, your subdivisions, your consents and otherwise, and now in the last few months have been helping your committee of adjustments. So we've been happily providing that support to McNabb Braeside and hope to continue in that fashion, or even a greater fashion moving forward. So again, the entire portfolio of development property is exactly that: planning and economic development. Of course, economic development is the topic of the day in McNabb Braeside, with meetings coming up with a few investors, let's say, happening this week and over the course of the next little while. And congratulations to your municipality for landing the great white shark, let's say, as it came on board. So let's see that process through. So in economic development and planning, full court press, as we like to say. So when we see a development like this happen, we arrange with our government officials and our funding agencies and everything else to show them to investors what the power of ourselves, the feds, the province can handle, and bring that forward and hopefully get this development going and through the hurdles that we see happening over the next little while, and try to make this a smooth as smooth as it can for the investor and for the developers as we move forward. Again, more of the portfolio is in real property and real estate, let's say. So we manage several buildings, the paramedic bases, our administration buildings, and now we'll be taking care of the bricks and mortar piece of social housing or Renfrew County Housing Corporation. So always on the lookout for more seniors housing and more affordable housing projects. So we're busy working with a number of agencies, including ones in one of your nearby municipalities to help that happen. We manage a number of county forests, of course, and the big project of the day for our trails and forestry and GIS division, of course, is the Algonquin Trail, which beautifully winds its way through your municipality. And I understand it's being used so much that we may have to do some stone dust upgrades down in the Braeside area between Renfrew and Arnprior. So we just heard earlier today that people using it in your area couldn't believe the amount of people on the trail and trails, including your other trail that you manage yourselves. The amount of trail usage is way on the up use of trail usage through your area. So development property is busy, but again, as Paul mentioned right off the top, that changes are afoot in planning. Manager of planning services is Bruce Howarth now. He's stepped up from senior planner and is busy working with me to increase capacity. With the departure of Charles Cheeseman, we are looking to add one new planner in the new year, and hopefully another one just to backfill, because the general inquiries and development are increasingly coming in and being applied for. And McNabb Braeside is no stranger to development, being on the fringe of Ottawa, and now with the Highway 417 being expanded over the next few years. So looking forward to more development applications and helping you out as best we can. Thank you, Mayor. And back to Paul.
Thank you, gentlemen. And our goal today was to have that conversation, let you know about those positive changes we've made, and I guess we want to make sure that we're having the conversation both with the elected officials though and with the staff to make sure that they feel free to call us anytime should there be any questions. I'll be the first one to admit at the outset of our construction project, and as we went through some staffing changes, we slowed down a little bit and our service probably wasn't as good as it could have been. I'm here to tell you today we're back, and I think we're probably better than ever with the level of staff that we have. You heard Jeff talk about our HR folks and the skill set that we now bring. And I'll give you an example. We're dealing with one local municipality that has some challenges through our HR department. And, when we deal with that local municipality to help them sort things out, it takes our best HR folks to give that advice. But it also takes the employee health coordinator to jump in and provide some support as it relates to getting some folks back to work. And at the same time, it takes our finance staff to help them with the numbers in the budget. So in HR, it most certainly takes a sophisticated team. And I think that's what Jeff has now put in place. So hats off to Jeff for pulling that together. And I know Craig's not far behind with the planning department staff. As he indicated, we have a new planner starting in January, and we're hoping to have a conversation with council about an additional planner as well to provide support and to shore up the planning staff and make sure we're ready for what's coming at us as a county, and so that we can support our local municipalities. So Warden, if you're okay, I'll turn it over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thanks, Jeff and Craig. It's very important to us that we're able to share the what's happening with the county with our lower tier municipalities. So Mayor Peckett, if you have any questions, or your council, will be more than happy to answer them this evening.
Thank you, Warden. Any questions from council? Councilor Lang?
Just a comment. This might be out of the scope of this discussion or presentation, but is probably directed to you, Mr. Kelly. I'm interested, and I think the mayor is interested as well, in tiny homes for seniors and things like that. And I know that, we're not quite there yet. I believe, there's a lot of stuff going on in planning in BC and of course in the United States. So I'm wondering, is that on the radar for the planning department for the county?
Yes, through you, Mayor, to Councillor Lang. So it is on our radar and has been for some time. We've heard presentations from people and heard those concepts. We watched the concepts obviously through planning, whether they be tiny homes or container homes or a number of different aspects of ways to go with new housing. In our new official plan, OPA 31, that was just passed a short time ago, it mentions that we are open to hearing from developers who are looking to do this in their own, in a zone environment. So they would have to zone that area. It's a very complicated answer. Tiny homes, depending on the floor, the building size, don't fit the definition of a dwelling, under the current Ontario Building Code rules. So it has to be over a certain square feet, I think 592 or something like that. So there's a lot about tiny homes, but definitely on our radar, and there are provisions to allow them in your municipality through a rezoning process or a site-specific process.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Morrow, please.
If I may, Mayor Peck, just to add to Craig's answer, and I'll maybe ask Craig to jump in a little bit more. Craig referenced the update to the county OP and how we were so happy to have that process done. The next order of business for us is the comprehensive zoning updates. And so through that process, we'll be exploring some of these options as well. So we have some provincial hurdles, but I like the process that Craig and the staff are looking at to undertake those comprehensive zoning updates. So what the intent is, we will have almost a pick list of options for a local municipality, and they can go through that zoning bylaw, and a local council can, based on that pick list, start to pick policies for their comprehensive zoning bylaws that suit them and meet their local needs. So that's a bit of a heads up for you. That's what will be coming down the road. And hopefully we'll address some of those concerns that Councillor Lang raised as well as we go through that process. Craig, anything to add to that, sir?
No, thank you, Paul. And I apologize for missing that one. I keep thinking about, Bruce. Bruce will likely be engaged in writing your zoning bylaw. So again, he's got the great idea. Let's have drop-down menus almost of here's your general provisions. And then, as Paul referenced, if you're interested in tiny homes, and we'll build that in. If you're interested in cannabis production facilities, we'll build that in. So all these things, as you'll go through, municipalities will actually have that menu, and it's a buffet, and you make it an a la carte. So that's really what we're looking at as we move forward.
Thank you. I think Deputy Mayor Armstrong, you had your hand up.
Mayor
Yes, I
Peckett,
did,
can I
sir,
just get a
but
mover and seconder to
I think that
extend?
we need to extend.
Please,
Moved
and thank
by
you.
Mayor Armstrong and seconded by Councillor Brooke. And we're all in favor. Okay, so it's just one of those things. We have a 15-minute time limit for delegation, so we have to do that to extend it. Is there any?
I did
other
have a comment though, sir, if I could.
Okay, yes, Brian.
Yeah, it's just more a general statement or a general comment on the efforts that have been putting forth by the county. As you've mentioned, we've had Bruce for quite some time now, and he's been providing a wonderful service to the municipality. When we first started in council 6 years ago, we had a notion of hiring our own planner. But we soon came to the realization that we already had Bruce, and he was doing a fantastic job. And the possibility of finding a qualified planner was slim because there isn't a large pool to draw from. So I'm really intrigued with a similar exercise taking place on the HR front because these are subject matter experts that are hard to find. And a municipality like ours doesn't necessarily need them every week or every month, but for the county to take a leadership role to seek these individuals and to have a stronger draw to attract these experts Whereas a small municipality of 14,000 people might not have that luxury and that aura around them to say, geez, I'd really like to go work there. Working at the county level is more of a, could be seen as more of a challenge for them. And so you attracted a better quality of candidate. And if you can then take that and then help these smaller municipalities out, I think it's fantastic for the entire county. It's fantastic for at the county level. It's fantastic at the municipal level as well. So I think that together we should all be looking to seek those types of opportunities in other subject matter areas where specialized expertise is probably required. So just to thank you, and looking forward to well, hopefully not requiring the expertise of an HR expert. However, and that's no slight on Lindsay and her team. You know, they do a fantastic job of taking care of our staff. So I just think it's another tool in the tool chest for Lindsay to use to better serve her staff and our municipality as a whole. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Well said. Any other comments from council? Well, I would just like to thank the warden and the CAO and Mr. Foss and Mr. Kelly for bringing this information to us this evening. My comments would be that since I have been in county council, I guess getting close to 7 years now, I have found county council staff, their team is excellent to work with. And I think the township of McNabb Braeside has done exceptionally well with dealings with the county staff. They have provided us with all kinds of information, all kinds of help with our county roads and advice and anything that the township has needed. And I have to go right to Bruce Howarth. I don't know if everybody knows the story, but Bruce and I started off kind of on opposite sides over the quarry in McNabb Braeside. But Bruce was nothing but a true professional. We got through that, and we still don't agree on everything, but I got to tell you, he's been a great asset through the county to our township, as well as the rest of the county staff up there. So thank you so much for your information this evening. And if there's nothing else, I wish all you folks an enjoyable rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much,
care.
Mayor Peckett. We appreciate the opportunity. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Did we finish off everything, Ms. Lee? We're down to item 14. Questions from the public?
No, we need to do our bylaws.
We didn't do them? Okay. 13.1 bylaw 2021-64 township officer remuneration. Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Armstrong, Councillor Lang, questions, comments? All in favor? Do you have a comment, Councillor Jacob?
Yes, I did. Similar to last year, again, I will be voting against this bylaw and supporting the staff one. I think after the pandemic we've been through, and given the considerations we're going to have in budget relating to roads and other priorities, I think an increase to township officer or council salaries is not warranted in this coming fiscal year.
Thank you. Councillor Lang, a comment?
You know, my position, it has not changed over the last few years, so I will not be voting for this.
Okay. So I'll ask all in favor of the bylaw? No one?
I was just rereading it to make sure that I didn't miss something.
It's exactly what I was doing. I'm just rereading it.
It's for the, basically, what is it, 1.5% pay increase for council?
Sorry, excuse me.
Coghlan will,
No, Kelly, go ahead.
I was just gonna clarify that the salaries that are reflected in this bylaw include the same percentage as staff, so it reflects a 2.77% increase in the wage rates for both council and then the Committee of Adjustments, fence viewers and what have you in the second for the officers.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong?
I thought this typically came to budget conversation prior to coming as a bylaw. And maybe I just misunderstood. Is that not the normal practice that we have the budget discussion on this prior to it becoming a bylaw, and then it comes following the agreement at the end of the budget discussions?
So in the
Ms. Lee and Ms. Coghlan, who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay, I was just going to say that in the past, the last 2 years, and I was following what was done in the past, I would put together the wage grids, and then council would in turn pass the corresponding bylaws to support those wage rates. And then once council approves those wage rates, then I incorporate them into the budget. But I provided in the report, for example, with the staff remuneration, the impact that it would have on the salaries and wages and potential levy increase. And the council and remuneration was part of that figure of the 72,000. So that's what's been done in the past. The only difference or the only thing that would come forward in the actual budget deliberations is once I have all the employer benefit costs side of it, then that would be brought forward for information and discussion for council at that time at the budget deliberations. But salaries and wages need to be passed before budget discussions.
Ms. Lee, please? No?
It's okay. I was just gonna say the same thing.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Armstrong?
Well, I'm confused, I guess. Because I remember every year having the conversation about whether or not we're going to approve a budget,
Ms. Lee, please.
So we've always done it this way. Last year, we did it a little bit differently because there was a 1.5, I don't remember the exact number, so I'm just gonna make some up, but a 1.5 right now, and then a further 1 added at budget time. That's why there was a discussion at budget about COLA. But it's always been done ahead of time so that the treasurer has the information for budget.
Councillor Broom, you had a question?
No, but now that I've reread it, I'm ready to support it.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong, in a couple of minutes.
I remember last year was they were going to ask for 1.5, but council wanted to give them an extra 1. So that's
That's right.
That's what
That's
those
why there
numbers
was an
were.
actual discussion at budget as opposed to
Yeah.
just ahead of the time now.
Yeah. Not that I didn't believe you, I just kind of looked back.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
So if this is approved now, it's for the purposes of discussion of budget, and therefore is open for discussion of budget then?
No,
No, if it's approved now, it's approved. And then Kelly has her budget numbers for salary.
Holy flying fiddler, I don't remember this process before. Where the hell have I been for the last 7 years? I'm sorry, I'm serious. I remember having a discussion about salaries at the budget time every year.
Ms. Coughlin, is there a dollar increase for council alone?
Let me get my report. So for
2,600.
council itself, it's $2,650.73. That's the council and officers portion of the rate increase that I'm proposing. So of the $72,580, basically 2,600 is associated with the council and officers rate increases.
So
Deputy Mayor?
is this an all or nothing discussion? Because I don't need a raise. I certainly don't dismiss the officers, and I don't have an issue with paying other people. But I certainly don't need a raise. And on the same token, I still think the mayor is underpaid, but I don't believe that I am. So I don't know if it's open for individual discussion at this point, or what. Because personally, I'd gladly take my raise and give it to the mayor, because I know he works an extreme amount of hours, so probably more than double of any of us, so.
Ms. Coughlin?
The only, I had a couple comments. So obviously, council is being asked to vote on this bylaw. It's in its entirety. And it's based on past practice that whatever the percentage has been for staff has been assigned to council and the officers. If council votes against the bylaw or but wants to see some other amounts for the officers or vice versa, then it would just be a matter of providing direction. So the bylaw that's being put forward here is in keeping with past practice.
Councilor Lang?
I don't have an issue with the increases for the officers. But again, I do not want to have a raise myself. And that is a position that I have held since 2014, and I will continue to hold it despite being outvoted every year. So I would prefer not I would prefer to have this bylaw split so that we can, give staff direction that the officers would have the commensurate raise, but that council would be considered separately. And again, my opinion on that.
So my comment would be, if you don't want the raise, why don't you take the money that you would get on an increase and donate it to some worthy charity? Maybe the archives, for example, you sit on their board, they're continually struggling for money. Councillor Lang?
Well, considering that I donate to the township every year in kind, like trees and stuff, I do donate every year to something. And I do donate to the archives separately, and I donate to another board that I'm a member of. So,
Okay, but the point is that you would have X number of dollars that wouldn't come out of your pocket that you could donate. Councillor Lang?
just supplementary, I just think that as council, again, that we're here to serve the public. And I don't think remuneration should be increased every year.
Councillor Jacob?
Just a question through you to the treasurer. Should council provide staff direction or defeat this bylaw and provide staff direction that another bylaw be brought forward at the next meeting to maintain members of council salary as was existing in 2021 and to increase the officer's salary by the 2.77%? Would that have a large impact on the preparation of the budget?
Ms. Cogman?
No, that would be, it's fine. This is why I always bring this forward at this time of the year, at the beginning of October, because I'm now pulling everything together. And these obviously salaries and wages, as you can see, is a significant chunk of how much we need to be raising. So it's important to get that finalized, and then we can deal with the rest of the operating. So if at the end of this discussion and council voting and it's in favor of keeping council's wages frozen at the 2021 rates and incorporate that 2.77% increase with the officers, that new bylaw can be brought forward at the next council meeting.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Jacob?
Just a procedural question through you to the CAO. So to confirm if what I just suggested a few moments ago were council's direction, we would defeat the bylaw being presented to us now and then make a motion for staff direction?
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay. Recorded vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Armston moved the bylaw. So starting with Deputy Mayor Armston, are you in favor of the bylaw or opposed?
Opposed.
Councillor Lang,
Opposed?
Councillor Brum. Councillor Brum,
Opposed.
Councillor Jacob,
Opposed?
Mayor Packett.
4.
Bylaw defeated 4-1.
Thank you. Bylaw 2021-65, township staff remuneration. Over. Oh, you want staff direction to bring this back, Ms. Lee?
Yeah.
So be it. Councillor Jacob?
So I'm happy to move the staff direction that staff bring back the council members and officers remuneration bylaw to provide for members of council rates to be maintained at 2021 levels and to increase officer rates as presented in the bylaw that was just defeated by 2.77% in line with the staff increase.
Seconder? Councillor Lang? All in favor? Carried. 13.2, 2021-65, 2022, staff remuneration. Mover and seconder. Councillor Jacob, Deputy Mayor Armston. Ms. Cogman, speaking on this one? No?
I didn't have anything in addition to add, just aside from the fact that we did do a little bit of cleanup in the bylaw with regards to insurance and health benefits, and including the addition of the healthcare spending account, which was added to the benefits last year. And then just took out a few of the other items that were included there previously because they're just part of the overall umbrella of extended healthcare coverage. I didn't feel that they needed to be split out separately because there's many areas that are included in our health and dental coverage. So that was just a little bit of a cleanup. The other item worth noting is that the paid holidays have now increased to 15 days. It was previously 14, but with the addition of the September 30th statutory holiday for National Truth and Reconciliation, that change is also being made and incorporated into this. The car allowance rate for mileage has remained unchanged, as is the safety boot allowance. And I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you. The mileage rate, do we not follow the county?
We follow Canada Revenue Agency.
Okay, the county follows them as well. Any questions, comments on this bylaw? All in favor? Carried, thank you. Any public in attendance, Ms. Lee?
No, there's not.
Okay. Says here, no, we have a closed meeting.
Yes.
So I need a mover and seconder to move into a closed meeting, section 239. What's the rest of it, please?
Identifiable individual.
That's all? Okay. Moved by Councillor Broom, seconded by Deputy Mayor Armstrong. All in favor? Carried, thank you. We're now in closed. Just stop recording. Next is the notice of meetings for the end of October and into November. Looking at the special meetings as budget meetings. Councillor Jacob.
Question 3 here to the CAO. Just to confirm, those budget meetings will be electronic meetings as well, correct?
Ms. Lee.
I think we are going to try and hold those ones in person. Just for council, we feel like it's easier to actually have those meetings in person. And then we'll just have it like we did with the other ones, still closed to the public, because we might actually, that's not true. We might offer that they can pre-register to come to the meeting just so that we have numbers and are able to space people apart, knowing that we normally only have one or two people that actually come to the meeting. So.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I need a mover and seconder for the confirmatory bylaw, please. Councillor Broom, Councillor Lang, all in favor? Carried, thank you. We are adjourned.